and welcome to this special iBrief edition of Beyond the Brief. I'm Ariana Schaefer. The trouble in Egypt continues to escalate. For most, it seems like something very far away from Boca Raton. For one Lynn University student, however, the implications are hitting much closer to home. Samantha Wolmuth has the story.
Hi, my name is Samantha Wolmuth, reporting from Beyond the Brief. Today I'm sitting with Gamila, a junior here at Lynn University from Egypt. Currently there is a protest going on by the citizens of Egypt having to do with their displeasure with the government leader, Hosni Mubarak. So, where in Egypt are you from?
I'm from Cairo. Most of my family's from Cairo, but they're also spread out more in the northern side of Egypt.
Have you lived in Cairo for most of your life? Or?
For actually not the most of my life, but for a while, yeah.
Okay. Are your parents currently in Cairo?
Right now they're in Zimbabwe because my dad is currently working there.
Okay.
But yeah, they come back and forth.
Okay,
So,
but most of your family still lives there?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on Tuesday, January 25th, the official protests in Cairo began. How did you find out about them?
Basically, obviously, like a lot of things were happening like before that. Tunisia and Egypt kind of had some unrest, and me and my other Egyptian friends on campus, we'd get together and like talk about it. And my one friend mentioned it to me that there was like a vague rumor of the 25th that people would protest, but we just thought that it was a rumor. We didn't think that it would be like this huge. And so obviously on Facebook, all the groups and the pages and stuff that started, and so yeah, I just started reading, and it just you watch the news and people just immediately that day just started pouring onto the streets, and we're just like, whoa, they're serious about this. And there was a lot of motivation online, and people just, they thought if Tunisia could do it, then why not us?
Yeah. So you found out before it actually happened. There were like slight rumors. Were you alarmed at all, or was it just?
No, I mean, like, because of like the situation in Egypt with the economic issues and the political issues, and just for 30 years that Mubarak's been in power, and so since then it's been really stagnant, and if you're a college graduate, you couldn't really find a job, stuff like that. Just kind of made it just stagnant, and so people just had to explode at a certain point.
It was bound to happen. It was a powder keg.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So on the 27th of January, it was confirmed that communication lines were cut. You said that you had family back in Cairo. Were you able to get in contact with them at all? Were you worried?
Well, I basically that day when that happened, when everyone just kind of went off the internet, like all my friends, all my family just disappeared. I just kind of, I started calling like everybody I know with on their mobiles, and some people I could reach. My sister I could reach for some reason because she lives a bit far out in like a kind of a deserted neighborhood, and so it worked. Her phone worked, and so she basically told me everything. And then I called my aunt as well. The landlines were working, and so yeah, I could get them through that. But yeah, other than that, like the internet was just ridiculous, because they thought they could stop it that way, but people just kept revolting. So
okay. Is your family safe at this point, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, my sister works in the middle of everything, so I doubt that she's going to work right now. But I think people are just waiting to see what's going to happen. I'm sure they're a bit scared, but yeah, I think they're fine. But yeah.
Right. Well, over the past week, I've noticed that you've had your default picture on Facebook as like in support for this uprising. Obviously, you support it.
Definitely.
Is there a reason behind that?
I mean, I would be kind of a bit of a traitor, I think, if I didn't, because it's just something that every Egyptian has been waiting for so long, unless you're involved with the government, unless you're part of the ruling party. But yes. Everyone just, if you go to Egypt, it's just a struggle to live, especially if you're Egyptian, of course, like, to work, to live, to find, like the prices were just going crazy. You couldn't really survive on those kind of, price levels.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, like, I can't remember your question, but yeah, it was
You
just
agree
bound
with
to
that?
happen. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, I totally like support it. Definitely. If I was there, I would be on the streets right now.
Even
so.
with the violence and everything?
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
I understand. So if Mubarak is removed from power, what would you want to see change in Egypt?
Well, I mean, to begin with, like politics, the Constitution, there's a lot of things in the Constitution that, allow the oppression that happens, like martial law, which basically allows the police to do whatever it likes. And, but other than that, on a general outlook, like more reform in terms of, education, the economy, and so people have more opportunities, more like freedom of speech, if it's the media, whatever. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of really good things happening. So.
Okay. So the former head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Mohamed ElBaradei,
ElBaradei, you're right.
he has said that he would lead these protests, and I'm guessing so he's been doing. He's also, a lot of people feel that he should replace Mubarak. Do you agree with this?
Well, I mean, in terms of him leading the protests, I would say that I think a lot of Egyptians, he does have a following, but you'd actually be surprised that a lot of people don't find him to be the ideal leader, because he is very, very intellectual. I mean, he's very well educated, and he was the head of the IAEA, but the problem is that people claim that he lived most of his life outside of Egypt, and so that wouldn't really allow him to be close enough to, the population. And so, I mean, they respect him as maybe someone who could be involved in the government, but not as a leader. Personally, I also feel that way. There's a lot of other candidates also that seem to be, potential leaders in
Who
that
do you
position.
feel is the best?
There's Amr Moussa, who was the former foreign minister. He has like huge popularity. Like everyone in Egypt just loves him. If it's rich or poor, or, everyone just really likes him. And so I think if change happens and everything goes the way we want it to, then, and he is able to come back, then people would start voting for him, definitely. So.
Well, are you concerned at all that if Mubarak is removed, that somebody worse might come in?
In terms of somebody worse, I mean, if you look at it, in terms of, as a revolution, in terms of people who were involved in organizing this, it was just normal people, like, people like me, or like college students, or just, people who are out of work, just average people who aren't radicals, who aren't like, like Al-Qaeda, like supporters, they're not. So there's no reason, I think, that like some sort of a radical person or group, whatever, would take power, So, I mean, hopefully things won't turn bad, and, the reform that we actually want to happen will happen. I'm hoping, I'm praying to God that that's the way it's going to go, and, something worse, I mean, God knows what it is, but will come up, so, yeah.
So on Thursday, this past Thursday, a group of students and local people gathered in Boca in support for the protests.
Right.
There have been a lot of mixed reactions. Some people feel, and I quote, they need to relax, while others said that the uprising in Egypt was because of the Muslim Brotherhood in Cairo, that they wanted to spark some kind of senseless violence, anything. How do you feel about these statements?
Well, I mean, in terms of the Boca protest, I know, like, my sister-in-law was also involved with organizing it. So, I mean, just like Egyptians here, just like me or whatever, like organized or went out onto the streets and protested, there's no reason that, like, all of these allegations have come up. Like you said, they they claim that
The Muslim
oh,
Brotherhood.
okay, no, that's no. Like I said before, that it was just normal people who went out onto the streets and said, this is our right. It's our right to talk against the government, and so. It's not, the Muslim Brotherhood kind of came in the middle and then said, oh, in the beginning, if you were like watching events as they happened, they had decided to keep out of the protests, and they said that, no, we don't want to be involved in anything against the government, and because we want to, keep our position and whatever, and they kind of just came in the middle, and then they said, okay, we're with the Egyptian people now. So it's really not their revolution,
Yes.
it's just
the people.
Exactly. Thank you.
No. Well, thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
My name is Samantha Walmuth from Beyond the Brief. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Samantha. Log on to www.lynnipulse.org to view the latest Beyond the Brief segment and watch archived shows under the Multimedia section. For Beyond the Brief, this is Ariana Schaefer. Good night.